What's up, everybody? Welcome to my top 100 favorite movies of all time, part two. Yes, so continuing on top 100 movies. So in this part two, I will be covering uh, from number 75 to number 51. And then next Wednesday, I'll do from 50 to 26, and then the next Saturday will be from 25 to 1. So yeah, um all out of the way, let's waste no time and let's go ahead and get started. Yeah. All right. So coming in at number 75, we have a movie from my favorite trilogy, and that is the Before trilogy, and we have the third and final installment, Before Midnight. Now, okay, let me say something here. I only have one other movie from the Before trilogy in the on this list, and the other one, while yes, I love it, it almost made this list, but it didn't. So yeah, only two movies from the Before trilogy made it on this list. I wish I had all three, but I don't. I'm not gonna say what my least favorite is. Just so I won't spoil what my favorite is. But if you've seen my review for the Before trilogy, then you probably know because it hasn't changed since then. But anyways, yeah, Before Midnight, really great film to end a great trilogy with. I like it a lot, and like it's definitely my second favorite, and it's just so good. I mean, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy are great as they are in that entire trilogy, and it has their characters Jesse and Celine. They're married now, but they are struggling a little with their marriage, and and this movie shows it. So it's very well done, very well done. Yeah, like I said, this is my second favorite in the Before trilogy. We'll get into my favorite later. It won't be in this video. It'll be in a different video. But yeah, Before Midnight. That's my number 75. Okay, coming in at number 74, we have my favorite Christmas movie, and that is Elf. Yeah, Elf. I grew up with this movie. I loved it ever since I was a kid, and this is my favorite Will Ferrell movie. Definitely his best performance, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, he is kind of annoying and very childish in this film, but it works. It works very well with this movie, and I love his chemistry with the late great James Caan. James Caan might even be funnier than Will Ferrell just because he's just not having it. And you know what would make this movie, I don't know if better, but more interesting at least, is if the movie was actually in James Caan's point of view, where, he meets his long lost son that he had no idea even existed, and on top of that, it appears that he's crazy because he thinks he's an elf, and then, well, I don't want to spoil anything. I think most people have seen this, but just in case you haven't, I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, really funny movie. I watch it every year around Christmas time. I love it. Elf. That's my number 74. All right, coming in at number 73, we have bum 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 The Terminator. Yeah. Hopefully I won't get a copyright claim for that, but that wasn't really much of. That was a very poor imitation of the Terminator song. Yeah, and you notice it's just the first one. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Terminator 2 is not on this list. I'm sorry, but Terminator 1, in my opinion, is better than Terminator 2. I know a lot of people will disagree with me. Probably most people will. I mean, yes, Terminator 2 was definitely very, very well made. And yeah, I will admit that the effects are better in Terminator 2, but that's it. I honestly do think that the first one is better. It's a lot more suspenseful, and it's kind of a horror movie, really. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is pretty terrifying. Not really. He wasn't in the second one, but that's because he wasn't the villain in the second movie. But yeah, I love the Terminator. Also, of course, I gotta shout out to Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor. She's fantastic in this, and she even has my favorite line in the movie: "You're terminated, fucker." I love it. Michael Biehn as well as Kyle Reese is great. Yeah. Yeah, the only thing I will say about this movie that doesn't hold up are the effects of the Terminator whenever he's just the skeleton, when all the skin and stuff is off. Like, they use, like, stop motion, I think, to make the Terminator move, and it doesn't look great. It's pretty dated, but yeah, whatever. They did the best. They did the best they can. I'm sure it looked great for that time in 1984. So, yeah, the Terminator. That is number 73. All right, coming in at number 72, we have most likely the best rom-com I have ever seen. Now, not quite my favorite rom-com. I like others, some others better, but man, this movie is so fucking good. Like, I was really surprised of how good this movie was. Like, I bought this movie before I even saw it just because it was at the store, and I was like, yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. I'll get it. And I was really surprised of how much I loved it. That is When Harry Met Sally. Not my favorite Rob Reiner movie. I like another one better that we'll get to later. I don't think in this video. No, but yeah, but I still love it. I do have a feeling maybe the more times I watch it, because I've only seen it twice, but maybe the more times I watch it, it might be my favorite Rob Reiner movie by then. We'll see, but as of right now, it's not quite, but great movie, great romantic comedy. Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan are both fantastic in this film. Even Carrie Fisher is in this movie. And, yeah, it's really funny, too. This movie is really funny. Billy Crystal, especially, is hilarious in this movie. And, yeah, it's just a very good rom-com. Like, honestly, like I said, I think it's the best rom-com I've ever seen. So, yeah. But, yeah, When Harry Met Sally, that is my number 72. Okay, coming in at number 71, I believe that this is... Yes, it is. This is the first Quentin Tarantino movie on this list, and that is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As of right now, his most recent film. I am very curious about The Movie Critic. I'm really looking forward to that, and that's supposed to be his last film, apparently. But yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is fantastic, especially with a movie that has no plot and also for a movie that's kind of long, but it definitely doesn't feel that way. It goes by quick. Like, it goes by unbelievably fast. But it's great though. And yeah, and it probably has, I think it does. It has my favorite Tarantino character, and that is Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. I love him. I do. Rick fucking Dalton. I love him. He's great. Yeah, and of course Cliff Booth, too, played by Brad Pitt. But yeah, just an awesome movie. It's really funny, too. It might even be Tarantino's funniest movie. Maybe. There's a toss-up between that and Pulp Fiction, but yeah. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that is number 71. Okay, coming in at number 70, we have the first Spike Lee joint on here, and that is Black Klansman. I actually only have one other Spike Lee joint on this list, but yeah, I love Black Klansman. It's just such a good biopic, and it's based on a true story. I even have the book too. I never finished it, but yeah. You've got what's his name? Is it John David Washington? Is that his name? Yeah, John David Washington, who is Denzel Washington's son. He plays the main guy in this movie. Ron Stallworth, and he's great. Also, Adam Driver is fantastic in this film as well, and even a surprisingly good performance by Topher Grace, of all people, who's playing David Duke, who was the leader of the KKK back then. But he was fantastic. He was really good in the movie. It really surprised me of how good he was. But yeah, just a really awesome movie. I really like it a lot. It's pretty funny too, actually, and it's just a really good movie. Really awesome Spike Lee joint. And yeah, and that's my number 70. Okay, coming at number 69, we have Nebraska. And you might never heard of this movie. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But it's this is a Alexander Payne film, and this is my third favorite Alexander Payne film, and my favorite film from 2013. It was even nominated that year. It didn't win, obviously. But it's this movie is really good, and it's really good at blending comedy and drama. The comedy is really awesome in this movie. You got Bruce Dern and June Squibb, who are the funny people in this movie, and then you've got two comedians, which are Will Forte and Bob Odenkirk, playing the straight men in this movie, and it's great. I just love how they do that, and the black and white cinematography is amazing. All those actors I just mentioned, they're all great in the movie, especially Bruce Dern, and also June Squibb is great, and she's hilarious. She's the funniest character in the movie, without a doubt, and it's really good. I recommend Nebraska if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic, and that is my number 69. Okay, coming at number 68, we have, I believe my second, my second favorite Tim Burton movie, and that is Edward Scissorhands. Not the first Tim Burton movie I've ever seen, but it was, however, the first one that made me love Tim Burton. Like, after I saw this movie, I was like, yeah, I love Tim Burton, because I recognized how stylistic and just how awesome the directing was and stuff, even as a kid, whenever I saw this movie, and I just loved it. Johnny Depp is, of course, fantastic as Edward, and Winona Ryder, too, is great, and they have amazing chemistry together. Even Vincent Price has a cameo, probably a cameo in this movie, and he's great. It might have even been his last movie, too, I think. Also, the late, great Alan Arkin is in this, and he's hilarious. But it's really good, and it has a lot of different genres in it. You know, you got drama, comedy, romance, even a little bit of horror, sort of. It's just so good. I love it. Edward Scissorhands, that's my number 68. Alright, coming in at number 67, we have another Johnny Depp movie, actually, and that is What's Eating Gilbert Grape, also starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Juliette Lewis. This movie is, wow. The drama in this movie is just so good. It's very sad at a lot of times in the movie, but there also are some funny moments too. And it's kind of underrated. I think some people are starting to watch it now, but like it's kind of, it might have like a cult following or something now, but it's a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. And also Leonardo DiCaprio as Arnie, fantastic. One of his best performances, without a doubt. Yeah, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, that is my number 67. Alright, coming in number 66, we have a coming-of-age movie that came out in the last decade, and that is The Edge of 17, starring Haley Steinfeld and Woody Harrelson. Both fantastic in this movie, especially Haley Steinfeld. She is amazing. This movie gave me a crush on her, and she's just great. And she has great chemistry with Woody Harrelson. I also like her chemistry with her friend, who I don't know the actress name who plays her friend, but but she's great too. And yeah, and even with her brother too. Again, I don't remember the actor, but yeah, this movie's really funny and has some good, even has some good dramatic moments too. It's just so good. Not my favorite coming of age movie that involves a teenage girl. Actually, I have another one that will be coming up in this video, and then I have one coming later in another part of this list. But that involves a teenage girl as the protagonist of a coming of age movie. But yeah, The Edge of 17, great film, and that's number 66. All right, coming in at number 65, we have the first of three Kevin Smith films. Yeah, if you don't know my channel, I am a huge Kevin Smith fan. He's made a lot of funny films. He's made a lot of meh films, and he made one terrible film, that being Cop Out. But yeah, the first of three, that is Mallrats. Mallrats is a hilarious movie, and this movie did terribly when it came out. Like, this was only his second film too, and it was his follow up to Clerks, which did very well when it came out, and it led to Universal coming up to Kevin Smith and want him to make a movie for them, and that's what it was. It was Mallrats, which was kind of similar to Clerks, except instead of a convenience store, they're in a mall. And yeah, and people didn't like it when it came out, but as years went on, it became a cult classic, and I think a lot of people now love this movie. There's even some that might say it's their favorite Kevin Smith movie. It's understandable because this movie is funny as shit. Like, honestly, I like Clerks better. And there's another Kevin Smith movie I love too that we'll get to later. Maybe I shouldn't have said Clerks. Oops. But Mallrats though might be his funniest film, if I'm going to be honest. Jason Lee is hilarious as Brody, and yeah, it's just great. Just really a really funny movie. If you love comedies and you haven't seen Mallrats, definitely watch it. It's great. Yeah, Mallrats, that is number 65. Okay, now coming in at number 64, we have a movie from my childhood, and it is a Pixar movie. This was one of the first movies that I loved. This and Shrek, which I'll go ahead and say Shrek because I love Shrek, but the first one, but it didn't make the list. However, this one did. My number 64 is Toy Story, which I only own on VHS. But Toy Story, I mean, not my favorite Pixar movie. Well, I think two others better, but I still love I still love Toy Story. The animation surprisingly holds up pretty well. Like today you watch it, for the most part looks pretty good. Some of the human characters don't look the best, but besides that, like, all the toys look great. Even the dog in the movie looks good. And yeah, the backgrounds don't look too bad either. But yeah, it's a great film. It's hilarious, and Tom Hanks and Tim Allen both great as Woody and Buzz, and they're like definitely one of the best duos in film history, and this is definitely one of the best animated films in film history. Yeah, excuse me. Number 64 is Toy Story. All right, coming in at number 63. Speaking of Tom Hanks, we got another movie of his, and it's my favorite of his. My favorite performance of him. Yeah, that is Castaway. Also my favorite Robert Zemeckis film. Yeah, Tom Hanks, this is definitely his best performance in my opinion. Like, this movie, every time I watch it, I just love it more and more. Like, it's just so good. And a little underrated too. Like, not a lot of people like it, and not a lot of people have seen it, but the ones who have, not a lot of them like it. Like, they might say maybe it's boring or whatever, and some people might like the stuff with just him on the island, but then, like, you know, before he gets to the island, and then after. Well, I don't want to spoil, but the first. I'll just say this: the first and third acts people might not like, but they're probably just like, you know, the middle part, the second act, if you will, when he's on the island. I like the whole film. Just the whole film is just fantastic. It's very well done, a very good story, and yeah, it's just great. I love Castaway, and that is my number 63. All right, coming in number 62, we have a comedy from the 2000s, and one of my favorite high school comedies, and that is Superbad. Superbad is, oh my god, this movie is just fucking hilarious. Jonah Hill, Michael Cera are both fantastic. They're both hilarious. They have great chemistry with each other. And you also got Christopher Mintz-Plasse as Mick Lovin. He's yeah, there he is, right there. But he's fantastic. Also, you have Seth Rogen and Bill Hader as the cops, who are the worst cops ever, but they're both hilarious though. And even Emma Stone is in this movie, and she's great. This was her first movie too. But it's just a hilarious comedy. This is cringy comedy done very well. Like, yeah, it can be cringy, but it's still hilarious. It's still really funny. So, unlike a certain ripoff a ripoff of this movie that came out the last decade, Booksmart. Oh god, I hate that movie so much. And so weirdly enough, Jonah Hill's sister Beanie Feldstein was in that movie. But yeah, I actually do have a movie with Beanie Feldstein though coming up. Not Booksmart. You'll see it. You'll see it 3 movies from now actually. But yeah, Superbad. That is my number 62. All right, coming in at number 61. Now it's time to bring up maybe my favorite movie franchise. I used to say it was. Now, you know, I have some issues with the franchise. They're not great movies, to be honest. I mean, I love this. The stories are good, the characters are fantastic, and I love the world building. But they're not perfect movies. As a film buff first, they are not perfect movies. But however, I only have one movie in this franchise, and if any of the movies are close to being perfect, it's definitely this one. That is from maybe my favorite movie franchise, one of them for sure, but that is, of course, from the Harry Potter series, and that is the third film, Prisoner of Azkaban. The reason why this movie is close to being perfect, in my opinion, I think it's because they got a great director for it. That being Alfonso Cuarón, which, actually, this is the only Alfonso Cuarón movie I have on this list, but I have seen a couple others. I've seen Children of Men, I've seen Roma. They're both good movies, but Prisoner of Azkaban, though, I think is close to being perfect. It not quite. There's still a little bit of flaws, but it's definitely the best in the franchise, and it's just very well done. The special effects and all that they look 10 times even better than they did in the first two, which the first two, they don't look too bad. Even today, they aged pretty well, but they look 10 times better in this movie. And yeah, all the actors are fantastic. You got Gary Oldman in this one as Sirius Black, and of course Alan Rickman, and the main three, you know, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grant. But yeah, and also this movie has time travel, which is pretty awesome. So I still love Prisoner of Azkaban. It's a great film. It's a great Harry Potter movie, and it's the best Harry Potter movie. Yeah. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, that is my number 61. Okay, coming in at number 60 is, if I'm going to be completely honest, it's my favorite Batman movie. And the funny thing is, first of all, it's not The Dark Knight. There's Dark Knight is not on this list. Neither is Batman Begins or The Dark Knight Rises. Not even a Christopher Nolan film is on this list. I'm sorry, but I'm not a big Christopher Nolan fan. Memento's good, but I didn't put it on the list, though, mostly just because I've only seen it once. But no, it's none of those movies. This movie, some people might not even call it a Batman movie, but technically it is a Batman movie because it takes place in the Batman world, and it's maybe the most divisive Batman movie. Yeah, there's not a lot. There's a lot of people that hate it, but there's a lot of people that love it, and I'm one of them. I think it's very, very well made. That is Joker. Yeah. And the funny thing is, too, Batman's not even the main protagonist in this film. So, yeah. He is actually in the movie as a kid, but, you know, maybe that's spoilers. I don't know. But yeah, Joker, I don't care what you say. It is not a Taxi Driver ripoff. Not even close. This movie is nothing like Taxi Driver. I don't see the comparison at all. And spoilers, but I do have Taxi Driver on this list, which means, yes, I like Taxi Driver better than Joker, but it's not at all. They're not the same movie at all. King of Comedy, now people do compare it to King of Comedy as well, and I'll go and say I don't have that on the list, but I can see comparisons to that, but I still want to call it like a rip-off. Like, it's still its own thing. Like, the story is still... It's still a little different than King of Comedy, but there are some similarities for sure. Yeah, honestly, I think Joker's better than King of Comedy. King of Comedy is a good movie, but not like a great movie. I'm sorry, but I just don't think so. Yeah. But Joker is, I think, maybe not a perfect movie, but close. Much like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, it's close to being perfect. I think it's very well made. A surprisingly good direction by Todd Phillips, who I do like. I do like Todd Phillips. I like some of his other movies, his comedies. Like, yeah, I like Old School and Road Trip and even the Hangover trilogy. But him doing a non-comedy, make it a thriller movie. And yeah, he does it very well. And cinematography is beautiful. Scores beautiful. And of course, I got to mention Joaquin Phoenix, who won an Oscar, deservedly so. I definitely think he deserved that Oscar. He was fantastic. Yeah, Joker, that is my number 60. All right, coming at number 59, we have another coming-of-age movie that involves a girl, and that is the movie that made me fall in love with Saoirse Ronan, who is, if you don't know, my wife. I always say that. But she is my number one celebrity crush. I love her to death. And really, she's like the biggest reason why I love this movie. Not because I, am very much attracted to her, but also because she is a fantastic actress, and she is perfect in this movie. That is, of course, Lady Bird. Yeah. I haven't seen the Little Women remake, and I haven't seen Barbie, which just came out not that long ago. But with this movie, I can definitely tell that Greta Gerwig is a great director. And even though it's the only movie of hers I've seen so far, but Greta Gerwig did an amazing job with this film, both writing and directing this film. Laurie Metcalf is fantastic. Beanie Feldstein is very good, although I kind of think she's a little bit underused in the film, but I get it. I actually really like the dad in this movie too. I really like her Lady Bird's relationship with her dad. That was done very well. You also got Timothy Chalamet, who was okay, and Lucas Hedges was very good. I did like him, but yeah, but it's mostly due to Saoirse Ronan. Her performance as Lady Bird is just outstanding. I just actually I rewatched this not that long ago, and yeah, I mostly just love it just because of her, but also the direction from Greta Gerwig. That's probably my second favorite thing about the movie. But yeah, now one thing I will say that I don't love about the movie is the pacing. I do think it goes by a little too quick. That's really my biggest issue with the movie. But I still love it enough to be in my top 100 favorite movies list. So yeah, thanks to my wife, Saoirse Ronan. I'm sorry, I'm always gonna say that because I love her. But yeah, Lady Bird. That is my number 59. All right, coming in at number 58, we have my favorite Clint Eastwood movie, and that is Gran Torino. I remember whenever I first saw this movie, I didn't love it, but I thought it was okay whenever I first watched it. But I remember it still stuck with me though. Like I still thought about it, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna rewatch it. I did, and when I did, I loved it. It became it became one of my favorite movies, and it's just fantastic. Clint Eastwood's direction is great, and also his performance as Walter in this movie, Walter Kowalski, is fantastic. I love his friendship, his chemistry with I was about to call him Toad because that's what he calls him in the movie, but I'm sorry, I forgot how to say his name, but and also his sister too. I don't know those actors, but they were very good in the film. They were very, very good. And yeah, just about this old, kind of racist old man who happens to, be friends with some younger Asian kids, and he helps them out and stuff. And that's all I'm going to say without spoiling. It's actually a surprisingly funny movie. Like, Clint Eastwood is hilarious in this movie, just as this grumpy old man, kind of racist too, like I said, but even his racist remarks kind of makes me laugh. I'm sorry, but it just does. Yeah, he was really funny in this movie. It's also mostly a drama, and the dramatic scenes are really good. Like, I don't know. I feel like the first two acts are kind of comedy based a little bit, and then like the third act is more dramatic, but it's done very well. But yeah, I love this movie. Gran Torino is fantastic. It's my favorite movie of 2008. Sorry, Dark Knight, and yeah, I love it. Number 58 is Gran Torino. Okay, coming in at number 57, we have my second favorite Edgar Wright film, the first one on this list, and that is Baby Driver. Baby Driver is outstanding. Just so well made, and how the music plays with the film itself is great. You do got two controversial actors in this movie. Ansel Elgort as the lead character, Baby, and you also got Kevin Spacey as well. But if you can ignore the fact that they're shitty people and just see them as good actors, yeah, they're fantastic in this movie, and also great performances by Lily James, Isa Gonzalez, John Hamm, and Jamie Foxx especially. Jamie Foxx is actually my favorite in this movie. He plays a crazy dude, but who's just out of control, but he's also kind of funny too. So yeah, but yeah, soundtrack is fantastic. The editing is amazing too. Car chases are great. There's even a great foot chase in the movie too. Just awesome action comedy romance film. And I don't even think a lot of people don't even talk about the comedy that much in this movie. Like, it is a comedy, and it is hilarious, too. But yeah, Baby Driver, that is my number 57. Okay, coming in at number 56, we got a comedy from 1999, directed by Mike Judge, and that is Office Space. If you hate your job, watch this movie because you'll definitely relate to it. Which I don't even have a job, but still, like, I still love this movie though. It's hilarious. Ron Livingston is great as Peter, and you also got like Jennifer Aniston, Stephen Root, Gary Cole, all great and all funny in this movie. Even what's his name? Diedrich Bader, who probably plays my favorite character, Lawrence. He's hilarious. But yeah, really funny movie. The soundtrack is cool too. There's a lot of great rap songs, and the printer scene, I had to mention that with the Ghetto Boys playing. Mwah. What an amazing scene that is. That has to be one of my favorite scenes ever. But yeah, Office Space, that is number 56. Alright, I'm kind of dehydrated right now, so I'm going to pause this real quick, get a drink of water, be right back. Alright, coming in at number 55, we have a movie that me and Cade reviewed for our podcast, Your Cousins Are Critics. Go check it out. That is Easy Rider. Easy Rider is an amazing film. I kind of think it's underrated because I don't hear a whole lot of people talk about it nowadays. Not like a lot of cinephiles and whatnot, film buffs. But of course it is considered as a classic, maybe even a cult classic. But yeah, it's a fantastic movie. Even the oldest movie on this list, actually, believe it or not. Or is it? No, actually, Who's That Knocking at My Door is actually the oldest, because that came out in 1967. I said that in part 1. And this is 1969. But yeah, Easy Rider is awesome. This was directed by Dennis Hopper, and he's also in the movie, and he's great. You also got Peter Fonda, and of course Jack Nicholson, who this was the movie I think that put him on the map. Honestly, like this was his first breakout role. He doesn't even have like a huge role in this movie, but still, like this was the movie that got him attention from Hollywood, and yeah, he's fantastic. He's even funny in this movie, but yeah, just nothing plot wise. Like there's not really a plot in this movie, so not a whole lot happens, except at the end. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I honestly kind of hate that ending, to be honest. Not because it was like badly made or anything. No, it was very well made. But yeah, this is just a really well done, like really cool independent film. I love the cinematography, yeah, is pretty good, but the editing is fantastic. Also, the soundtrack is awesome. You know, you got Jimi Hendrix, you got Steppenwolf, Born to Be Wild, you got the Byrds. Yeah, it's really cool. Just a really awesome 1960s soundtrack. And a great 1960s movie, late 60s. But yeah, Easy Rider, awesome movie. And that is my number 55. Okay, coming in at number 54, we have a comedy from the late 90s and my favorite Farrelly Brothers movie. No, it is not Dumb and Dumber. Unfortunately, I don't have Dumb and Dumber on the list. It's a good movie, don't get me wrong. I do like Dumb and Dumber, but I like this one better. That is number 54. There's Something About Mary. Holy shit, this is a bonkers movie. This is like a crazy comedy. A really strange, just a really weird, out there comedy. Ben Stiller, one of his best movies, without a doubt. He's hilarious in this movie. Matt Dillon as well. Even Cameron Diaz as Mary, the title character, which I'm not a big Cameron Diaz fan, but she's pretty good in this movie. Kind of funny too. Um, yeah, but yeah, this movie is just hilarious. I should mention, just because I want to, I should mention Keith David's cameo in the movie. Is it the Frank or the beans? My favorite line in the movie. And oh, I gotta mention Warren too. Warren's a great character. He also says Frank and beans, Frank and beans. But yeah, hilarious movie, really weird. There is a popular scene in the film too that involves semen. Yeah, if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I know it's weird. It's a weird movie though. So yeah, but yeah, I love this movie. It's hilarious. Jonathan Richman too, I should mention. He's the guy who sings about Mary. You know, he pops up every now and again, and something bad happens to him at the end, but I'm not gonna say what if you've never seen it. It's kind of funny though. There's something about Mary. Hilarious movie. That's my number 54. Okay, coming at number 53, we have another Quentin Tarantino film. I think this one's kind of underrated. Not a lot of people like it. Unfortunately, like some even say it's kind of boring, and I don't understand how this movie is boring. Not at all. My number 53, and I gotta be honest, this is my favorite Western. That is The Hateful Eight. Yeah, not Django Unchained. I'm sorry. I know he did two Westerns. A lot of people love Django Unchained. I get it. It's a good movie, but not quite up there for me. It's only like an 8 out of 10. I only give 10 and 9s as my favorite. So all these movies, like even The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which I had at number 100 in part 1, that's a 9 out of 10 movie for me. And this is also a 9 out of 10 movie for me. Just an awesome, badass Western. It's even funny. You got Sam Jackson in this movie, as well as Kurt Russell and Jennifer Jason Leigh, as well as like Tim Roth and Michael Madsen, and even Channing Tatum, which surprisingly gives a good performance. Yeah. Oh, and also Walton Goggins and what's his name, Bruce Dern. I mentioned him earlier with Nebraska, but yeah. Awesome movie. I love The Hateful Eight. It's just so cool, so funny. I just love all 5 chapters in it. It's just an awesome movie. I love it. Yeah. The Hateful Eight, that is my number 53. Alright, coming in at number 52, we have another movie that me and Kate talked about on our podcast, Your Cousins Are Critics. I tried watching that episode, though. The audio wasn't great of what I remember. So, I mean, if you want to watch the episode, go ahead. But the audio's not the best. We're still working on the audio. But, yeah. Actually, our next episode, hopefully, if as long as it sounds good, it's actually going to just be an audio episode. You're not going to see us. We just, recorded it, we just audio recorded it, so yeah, we're gonna try it that way. Maybe it'll work. We'll see. But yeah. Anyways, sorry. But coming at number 52, we have my second favorite Alexander Payne film, and that is Election. Election is a very strange comedy, and it reminds me a lot like early Wes Anderson. It reminds me a lot like Rushmore. But yeah, I love this movie. As much as I love Ferris Bueller, I'm sorry, but this is Matthew Broderick's best performance. He is fantastic in this film, as well as Reese Witherspoon. She's great. She's funny in this movie. Yeah, it's just a really funny, really weird movie. There's some moments that might make you cringe a little bit, but it's very well. It's very well done, and kind of underrated too. But yeah, it definitely has a cult following though, for sure. And yeah, I love it. I love Election, and that's my number 52. Yeah. I don't know. Should I get the Criterion for Election? I probably will. We'll see. I don't collect Criterion very often. I got a few, but yeah. Okay. All right, last movie. Last movie, number 51. So this was a movie for my childhood, much like Toy Story. But this was based on a show, a cartoon that was a part of my childhood. And yeah, I I think the movie is fantastic. My number 51 is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Yes, I have a double feature with that and Sponge Out of Water. Sponge Out of Water's not bad, actually. I didn't mind that one. That one's pretty good. But the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, though, from 2004, is fantastic. This is like almost a masterpiece, if I'm going to be honest. It really is. It is great. It is so good. The story, the comedy, the animation, everything in this movie is just amazing. Yeah, like even the animation is hilarious. Like, if you notice, if you watch the movie, the animation's a little bit different from the show, and there's a lot of weird and funny looking drawings in this film. Like the characters' facial expressions are really funny looking, kind of like Ren and Stimpy a little bit. That was a bit huge thing that I noticed when last time seeing this movie was how much the facial expressions made me laugh. But yeah, it's a great film. You got some celebrities even in this movie, like you have Scarlett Johansson, Jeffrey Tambor, Alec Baldwin, and of course I gotta mention David Hasselhoff. His cameo in this movie is fantastic. It's so good. But hilarious movie. I mean, I love SpongeBob. Even to this day, at age 25, I love SpongeBob. And I love the SpongeBob movie from 2004. And it is my number 51. Yeah. Alright. There we go. There's part 2 of my top 100 favorite movies. So stay tuned for part 3 where I cover, that'll be from 50 to 26. So look out for that. That will be next Wednesday. All right. And also, oh, yeah, in the comments, if you can, please give me your top 100 favorite movies. But if you don't want to do top 100, that's fine. 50 or 20 or whatever, 10. Or just say what your favorite movie is of all time. Yeah. All right. So please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell. And I'll see you later. All right. Peace.